The healing process for those grieving during the COVID-19 crisis looks significantly different when compared to pre-pandemic times. Because of social distancing, people are now holding virtual memorial services, and they can't meet in person. They can't grieve together or get the practical support, such as helping with the arrangements for funerals and wakes. This lack of an external support system is affecting those who have lost a loved one during this nationwide lockdown. Clinical psychologist Dr. Christine Caulfield is the CEO of LSF Health Systems, and she joins me here on the phone to talk about healthy ways that people can cope with grief during this time, as well as creative ways that others can reach out to provide comfort. You know, Dr. Caulfield, people, they feel as if they're denied closure, denied a chance to say, I love you one more time. How do you reconcile that?
You know, you're so right, and it's very, very difficult. People are being told they can't gather together. That prevents people from consoling one another, except perhaps over Zoom or Skype. They can't hug or sit together and do all those things that lessen their pain. And people are already grieving. You know, we all are grieving the loss of our routines and the life as we used to know it. And having a loss of a loved one during this very difficult time really just heightens the issue.
Yeah, and they feel guilty because in many cases their loved one died alone, although, maybe the hospital workers were there for them, but they died without family. And they, in some cases, will carry this guilt for a lifetime.
Unfortunately, that is true. You know, the idea of having last words with a dying loved one, or knowing that you were there to comfort them and bid them goodbye, are really all things that help us get through the natural grief we experience when we lose someone close to us. And during these difficult times today, we're seeing tragic stories where loved ones can't be together during these last moments. And really, the process of going through all the cultural rituals that we have and norms of a funeral or memorial service really help people overcome the feelings of non-closure and helplessness due to their inability to be there or to tell the deceased how much they were loved. And so it's really complicating an already difficult time period of grief and loss.
What do you tell children and grandchildren who just don't understand?
That's a very good question. And, depending upon their age and their developmental ability to understand, what we're recommending in LSF Health Systems for children is to memorialize their loved one by either planting a tree, flowers, writing a letter, anything that they can do to get their feelings out and be able to feel like they contributed to saying goodbye to their loved one, to their grandfather or grandmother, aunt or uncle, parent.
And that brings me to something I wanted to talk about next. Every time I go back to Philly, I go visit my mom, and I go to the gravesite, and, we have some time, and I have a conversation with her. So when we no longer have to shelter in place, and this is all said and done, might it be cathartic to go to the graveside and have a conversation?
For many people, it is. It absolutely is. To be able to go to where they weren't able to visit prior to the pandemic, prior to going through this tragedy, and really go and, like you say, have a conversation, say goodbye, whatever ritual that is meaningful to that person, to be able to obtain some type of closure so that they can move on.
This is going to sound strange, but in some way, shape, or form, I feel like my mom talks back to me. And people can believe it or not, but she does. There are people, and you know this, who won't open up about what they're feeling. They won't talk about it, who never talk about anything, but they're hurting. How do you get them to open up?
I think it's very important that you recognize their pain, you acknowledge their pain. A conversation starter such as, you just don't seem like yourself. I'm sure this is a very difficult time for you. I'm here for you. Anytime you want to talk about it, what can I do to help move you through this grief process. I'm grieving too, and I'd like to share my grief with you.
Let them know that they can do it on their terms, on their timetable?
Absolutely. And if you feel that they're really having some serious depression, for example, or feeling like they're just not moving forward in a healthy way, recommend that counseling is available. People are there to help, and it's a sign of strength to reach out when you are struggling. And certainly at LSF Health Systems, we have a 24/7 access to care line that is available for anyone in our community to reach out at any time of the day or night, whatever you're struggling with.
Well, let's go ahead and give people that contact information because you know what? You're strong if you can ask for help. That helpline is 1-877-229-9098, or you can visit LSF Health Systems online at lsfnet.org. Dr. Caulfield, always good to talk to you, and you've always got some great advice. Thank you, and we'll be right back.